covering information session and topics, kind of a syllabus here: leverage, time and information, partnering, revenue and profit, and of course a very, very successful business plan. And we're going to go through a fairly quick PowerPoint presentation, and of course I'll kind of outline each page as we go through it. But I always like to tell folks, as you get on board, particularly if this is your first time taking a look at our business model, that you contact whoever invited you to the session tonight and say, hey, I need more. I need to get a little backup. I need to get a little bit more detailed answered questions, whatever it is that you need. And they'll sit down with you on a one-on-one, or if you're at a distance from them, they can walk through various things that we have available. We've got a tremendous amount of resources that you can tap into. We've got Yeager TV on YouTube. We've got IBO City, which has a lot of great PowerPoint presentations and startup information and references to materials and local meetings. We call them ICOs, Internet Opportunity Meetings. You can check out in your local vicinity. And again, I just referenced that you get back to whoever brought you on board tonight, because this is an open forum of business associates. And we have folks inviting people on from all over the United States. And based on the number of attendees on here tonight, I think that we've got a great cross-section of the U.S. on board. So as we go forward, I always like to help folks put a face to a voice, so to speak. And I'm going to let you guess that I'm the voice on the right, and that would be my beautiful wife, Colleen, on the left. And I always like to comment that picture we took a year ago, and that was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are in North Carolina. I'll show you a slide of our home here in just a moment. But that picture was taken at the Lamont restaurant, and Colleen and I were engaged to be married there 39 years ago this May. 38 years of marriage, 39 years ago that I got down on one knee. However, we couldn't afford the Lamont that night. So we were out on the observation deck overlooking the city of Pittsburgh, because I think I could barely afford the incline ride up. So times have changed, and I want to say for the positive without question. And that would be our home in Weddington, North Carolina. We're about 25 miles south of Charlotte, North Carolina. And it kind of looks like that tonight. I was just out. I have down the back of the property, I have a gazebo and a swing, and I was out there on my laptop catching up on email and cell phone earlier. And I'm up in my upstairs office right now. But the beauty of our business model is that here we are communicating tonight all over the United States. I'm in the comfort of my own home. I'm going to bet that most of you are in the comfort of your own home. You're on your laptop, your desktop. Some of you are on a PDA, perhaps. Some of you are driving in your car, just getting the audio broadcast, which is fantastic. So you think about where we are, and most of us can remember, not that too many years ago, 20 years to be exact, 1995, the internet was launched to the average American. We could finally get on and access the internet. It was a new phenomenon. Emails, imagine that. I was on America on Hold, AOL, and we moved down here to the Carolinas in 2001, and we had the first cable run out to our home with Time Warner Cable, and we had cable internet in 2001. And now we have fiber optic. It's pretty fantastic how far we've come in such a short period of time. But what that has done is created opportunity. It's created access. It's created our business runs totally on an order fulfillment system through the internet, or 800 numbers. You can still call and get a live person if you choose, but you can run everything off your PDA. In fact, I tell folks you're going to a multi-million-dollar multinational company right off of your PDA, whether it be an Android or an iPhone. And the capabilities are absolutely amazing when you think about how far we've come and how quickly we've come. Now, you look at what's going on in terms of our business. Our business has been around for over 50 years now. I think we celebrate our actually it was 1959 to 1984, 55th anniversary this past year. And you think about in 55 years going from zero to this past year in excess of $12 billion in business volume. And you see that little dip around 82, 83. We went from recording at retail sales to wholesale, about a 30% difference, and that created a little dip. We've had progressive, consistent growth for over 55 years. What does that mean to you and I? Well, here forward, I think you can see we are actually on track by 2020 to exceed $20 billion. That's just a few short years. That's 5 years. We're going to grow by another $8+ billion in the next 5 years based on current projections. We've been doubling every 4 or 5 years for the last 10 years. And it's pretty amazing when you look at the growth and the track record that we have. And, that slide I think is very important because so many times we're looking at business opportunities, and if you got an entrepreneurial spirit in you, then you want to start something and build it to great levels of income and some success for yourself. It's important to get involved with folks that have a great track record. And we can proudly tell you that we have an unprecedentedly great track record. In fact, there's none out there in our industry that even comes close to what we're accomplishing in our business. But you relate that back, if you're looking at the typical situation, I grew up, my granddad had a 6th grade education, got to work got a job in the steel mills outside of Pittsburgh. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and worked hard. Ended up being a foreman for a little bottle cap manufacturing company down Neville Island, down the Ohio River, just downstream from Pittsburgh. And he retired there at 62. Now, that was in 1960. I was just a 3-year-old little guy in 1960. And he retired. He'd bought some real estate, divided it into several units, and he was handy and basically sold it all, bought a home and a boat for cash down in Florida. And when I was 9 years old, I went down there for my first summer and spent 5 summers down there. It was a pretty great thing. But he said, get a good education. He was trying to give me advice to succeed because he never felt that he was successful. He and my grandmother each passed away at 93 and left a 6-figure inheritance, but never even had high school diplomas. And he said, get a good education, get a good job, work hard, stay out of trouble. I used to say, I think, keep your nose clean. I think that had a different meaning back in his day. But, basically, he was preparing me for what he thought was a better success track to move forward on than what he had. He thought I needed to have greater and better opportunities. And I appreciate that because he wanted to see me succeed. My parents wanted to see us succeed. But you look at the typical 45-year plan, and I don't know that there is such a thing anymore. I think that the get a good job with a good company and hang in there to the end kind of deal went away a long time ago. My dad worked 32 years with a Fortune 500 company, and they called him in and cut him loose in his early 50s, $513.50 deferred severance pension. My father-in-law worked to 50. They told him to watch the evening news. He did plant closing. And, that was, I think, our parents saw the end of that era. And I'll never forget, we went off to college with my daughter for her entrance kind of orientation deal. And she was going to a college up in Pennsylvania, Grove City College, very fantastic little private school up there, great record. They were very proud that they had 100% placement of their students into jobs when they graduated. The placement guy was doing his little talk as we're getting ready to enroll our daughter, and all these families are enrolling their children. And he said, now I want to prepare you that your child will have 4 to 5 careers that they will have to re-educate for in their lifetime, 12 to 15 jobs. And I'm sitting there thinking, holy smokes, here we are. Getting ready to write the big check, so to speak, send their children off to get this great 4-year education and beyond if they wanted to, and Kelly did some beyond. But they're telling us that it's not going to work like we all thought it was going to work. And we see what happens. The income rises up into your 30s and your 40s, and then in your 50s it begins to decline. And I was listening to an audio by Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that did Rich Dad Poor Dad. Most of you have heard of him. And he said, if success is planning to retire on 1/3 of what you're already struggling to make it on, that's not success at all. In fact, that's planning for failure in terms of retirement. And we just had a new audio that we've had out recently by Harry Dent. And he says retirement's a thing of the past. It's something that you retire from something to something else, because you got to work well into your 70s today to be able to economically produce the income you need to live a comfortable retirement. I don't know your situation. I'll bet you do, though. And I'll bet some of you haven't really stopped and thought about it a whole lot. But what is the future? And, we've all heard the old cliche, people don't plan to fail, but they do fail to plan. And when you start looking at a business like ours tonight, I guess the thing that really got my attention, because, we got involved in this thing in our 20s. We got married right at the second year of college. And I tell everybody, went from sharing lockers in high school to sharing closets in college, second year that is. But, we went on and we had 5 children. By 30, I had started up 2 or 3 companies. I think I had 3 companies at that point in time that I had started from scratch or with partners. And we were working hard. We were working a lot of hours. 60, 70 hours a week was normal. 70, 80 hours a week was not untypical. We're doing what most people do. We were on that active income side of things. We were self-employed. I was producing a pretty good income for a young couple, but we needed to. And we took a look at this business, and the first thing that got our attention was that we could get time back, because we were putting everything we had into something that if we stopped, it stopped. And Robert Kiyosaki, when he presented the cash flow quadrant, and he presented that in his second book, and we had the chance, the Yeagers asked us to host him one time up in, I think it was in Massachusetts, Worcester, Mass, at a function. And, heck of a nice fellow, but he got out on stage and he said to this whole big audience, he said, hey, the cash flow quadrant is 95% of the people have to show up to get their income. They got to work for a living. And of course, the way I grew up, I'm thinking, well, of course they do. Doesn't everybody? And I never really thought about it that much. And I think a lot of people really don't think about it that much. He said, if you have a job, you basically rent your paycheck. And if your boss decides he doesn't want you anymore, your lease is up. And you got to move on, find a new place to earn an income. If you're self-employed, which I became self-employed early in life, he said, you're basically shaving the boss, but you better show up, because if you don't, there's no income. And I could relate to that 110%. That cost me a lot of sleep at night, because if I didn't show up and perform, there wasn't going to be an income for the family. He said, but there's an elusive group out there that most people don't know about, that they'd like to be a part of. Business owners and investors. He said, and if you have a business that produces an independent income that you no longer have to show up to create, you become financially independent. I want to tell you something. He had my attention. I thought about, wow, I would like to work my way out of work. And tonight, that's what we're going to talk to you about. Working your way out of work. Putting yourself into a position where you now have ongoing income based upon what you've created, what you've developed. But now you can take and use your time and your life to do more of what you really want to do. So I don't know what you want to do. I think it's important for you to figure it out, but I think that this particular slide right here is the most important one in the presentation. Because if you don't know where you're going, you probably won't like where you wind up. It may not be anywhere near where you wanted to be. And, most people, they don't know how to increase their income, so they shrink their dreams. And I thought about that. I thought, wow, I read a book a long time ago by Ben Franklin. In fact, my son just found it at a yard sale, Ben Franklin's autobiography. And it was written quite a few years ago, as you can imagine. But Ben Franklin back in the 1700s said most people die by 25. We just don't bury them till they're 60 or older. And of course, they died a little younger back then, so we might say 70, 75 or older. But what he went on to say is he said they died to their dreams, their goals, and their ambitions by the time they're just in their mid-20s. Think about that. People quit believing that the good things are going to happen for them. They and grow their dreams and increase their income to accomplish them. But so many folks, unfortunately, shrink their dreams because they don't know how to change the income. And I could see that. You know, that was the thing that really frustrated us early on in our careers is we were working hard, but we'd kind of maxed out in terms of the income. And if you ever get a chance to listen to Zig Ziglar talking about the flea training, and I won't go into that tonight in this presentation, but Zig talked about, you know, you can train a flea because he can jump very, very high, but if you put a lid on the jar you put him in, he programs himself to jump lower and he can't get out of the jar anymore and he dies there. And I thought, wow, that's so many people. They just quit believing the good things can happen to them. So tonight, what is your current income? You know it. Whether it be 50,000, whether it be 500,000, what is it? And what are the things that you'd like to have out of life that it can't get you? What's that dream income circle? And that's the circle on the right, the target income. And when do you want it? I don't know about you, but I always figured sooner was better. I wanted it a lot sooner if possible. And we're going to talk to you tonight about a very fast track way. Now, what's sooner? 2 to 5 years to develop the business to the program level that I'm going to show you tonight. 2 to 5 years is a typical development. Some people take longer. Some people really crank it up and they're on the shorter end of things. That's going to be up to you. The beauty of it is you control that and you can put the energy in to create it much bigger and faster. Or you can say, hey, I'm going to take it at a more steady pace and let it come on a little bit slower. But, you know, what is your idea of success when you get there? What's it look like? I don't know what it looks like to you, but I kind of like that gal in the top left corner drinking that cool drink on that nice hammock on a beautiful beach between a couple palm trees. That looks like a good deal. We were in the Bahamas with some good friends in this business just a couple weeks ago, and the weather was nice. Being debt-free. You don't want that couple so doggone excited. They don't have any stress of debt. Think about this. If you eliminate all the debt payments you have on a monthly basis, how much more disposable income will you bring back into your checking account? Pretty fantastic concept to think about. And how much do you have to make after tax? You know, typically with the taxes that increased, a lot of folks don't realize how much they went up as of January 1st because they haven't done their 2015 taxes yet. But let me just help you. They're a lot higher than they were last year. And I don't know what you have to make to create $1. I have to make $2 to get $1 right now. And that's no fun. But hey, if you're debt free, you don't have to create $2 to pay a debt payment because you don't have any debt payments. Spending time with family, doing fun stuff, to me, that's not in cold weather, but to some people, it's always in cold weather. They love it. That's great. Going skiing, whenever. Take an adventure. That looks like a North Carolina shot, maybe up at Chimney Rock. Just going out for a fun day of adventure with someone you care about. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Taking Fridays off, having a little more time, having some recreational things, sleep until you're done, having some of the extras. I don't know what it is, but when you think about success, what is it to you? And if you got a pen and pad tonight, write it down. Write down some things you would want. If time and money were no longer an obstacle, if time and money were no longer a barrier, what would you do different? Where would you live? What would you drive? Where would you vacation? What would life look like on a daily basis? And it's an exciting thing to think about. But it's even more exciting to understand you can be in control of creating that scenario in your own life. The ability to become an entrepreneur. And we're going to go over that tonight. And for so many people, they always have wanted to do it. They just didn't know how. That was us. I thought I was an entrepreneur. No, I was basically just a fee-for-service guy who had to keep on working every day to create an income. I owned the business, but I had to be there to create it. And at one point, I was an employee, and if I didn't show up, they didn't pay me. Well, how about becoming an entrepreneur? And we're looking for people that are coachable and motivated. Now, two key qualities. Obviously, integrity and some of those other things are very, very important. But, you know, if you're a highly motivated person, but you're not very coachable, you're going to spend a lot of time, yours and ours, and not accomplish too much. We've got a process and a business system that's been well refined and works exceptionally well for those that work it the way we know it works best. If you're coachable, that's going to be very, very exciting to you. But if you're coachable and not very motivated, I heard a long time ago, you cannot steer a parked car. You got to get out there and make some things happen for yourself. And so you need that combination. How do we make the money? Well, the biggest thing that makes it happen is we eliminate all the middlemen. Think of all the money that they mark things up for, and the overhead they got to cover, and the salaries they got to pay, and the profit they want to bring out for themselves before they pass it on to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, ultimately to the consumer. We go manufacturer, consumer, direct. It's pretty doggone exciting. Think about it. Think about it, guys. You can eliminate all the middlemen and keep a chunk of the profit and have a better deal for the end consumer. Who have we partnered with? Well, the best. Amway Global is a multi-billion dollar, actually $12 billion multinational debt-free company. You're looking at a mile and a half of plant, equipment, distribution center, corporate offices, all bought and paid for. And if I could play the video, I'd play the video, and I recommend you see it here as soon as you can. But that is all bought and paid for. No debt, none at all. And when you're looking at someone that can back your business efforts, that can support you, that's got a product line, an order fulfillment system, and you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to fund any of that. You don't have to make any of that happen. It's already in place. You just got to go out and create new business that takes fullest advantage of it. There's the Amway Center in Orlando on I-4, $465 million sports center. The Orlando Magic, which is owned by the DeVos family, plays there. In fact, maybe you caught recently this week that the DeVos family, I think, just bought a significant interest in the Chicago Cubs. Would have been better the Pittsburgh Pirates, in my opinion, but they like the Cubs. And but, you know, whatever your sports team is, Amway is a big company supporting a lot of teams, and this center is just kind of a statement as to the money that's been created. In fact, Rich DeVos is listed as I think the wealthiest NBA owner in the whole system. He's been listed in Forbes 400 as a billionaire for many, many years, quite a few decades actually. Exclusive brands. Now, why is this important? If you're going up to Target, Walmart, Kmart, any of your local retail stores and buy the kind of stuff we have in our business model, that undermines you. I got to tell you something. Nutrilite, which is over a $5 billion brand right now, has been around for over 70 years. And I've been taking Nutrilite Double X for over 20 years. And I have people that we have in business with us and customers that have been taking Nutrilite Double X for over 20 years. Now, why Double X? It's the #1 global multivitamin food supplement product there is. And it is simply the best. And you say, well, Eric, everybody says that theirs is the best. Well, ours is verifiably so. They spent over $25 million doing a scientific study to be able to make statements of what the product can do. Scientific study is what you do if you've got a pharmaceutical product you're bringing out. And they're all pharmaceutical grade. Well, Nutrilite's just a fantastic product line. Excess Energy, phenomenal product line. We've got close to 20 flavors now. Our Perfect Water, I could spend the next 10 minutes on that alone. It's literally the best water you can get with oxygen infusion, and it'll give you an energy uplift because it'll add oxygen into your system. Our personal lines, our Artistry Skin Care line is the #1, actually it's a top 4 prestige lines globally, but it's nowhere close to the cost of the other 3. And we've got the best of the best. And of course, the science, they've got over 1,000 scientists, over 1,000 patents pending, over 1,000 patents. And we were just rated by, I think it was the Euromonitors, the #1 research intensive company in the world. Pretty powerful statement when you think that most people have no clue that that's the case. Now, why is that important tonight? Because if you're going to build a business and the products and the services that we provide aren't good, then that business isn't going to survive, isn't going to go to distance. But if they're the best of the best and you've got a multi-billion-dollar debt-free company and 55 years of success behind them, and you know that 20 years from now, that's going to be better than it is now, you can build a business around that with full confidence and enthusiasm, and it gets pretty exciting. We've got a lot of other companies that tie in with us. Sears and Roebuck tells us that we market more online for them than they do themselves. Bass Pro Shops, Barnes & Noble, Apple Computer now, Wireless Marketplace, all the different wireless systems. And we've got a lot of different products that are people are marketing through us because we can get them better exposure, and we make some money off of every one of those. And there's a lot more that I'm showing you there. So how's it work? Simple little concept called household gold. Household gold is when you change your buying habits. You're already spending the money on things that we have. Average household, $400 to $700 a month on the kinds of products and services we have. Now, if we have the best, and we do, why not begin to buy from your own business? Somebody told me a long time ago, common sense is not very common. I'm amazed how many people don't get that because they've never been raised or trained or educated to become a business owner. Why would you pay retail at somebody else's business when you can buy wholesale at your own? So begin to buy your own stuff, basically. 30% average markup, and you'll get a bonus, an endorsement bonus on what you personally use, what you market, and what you help other people get in business to do with you. We've got a compensation plan that is the only business plan of its kind to be self-audited with a Federal Trade Commission. That's like self-auditing every month, every year with the IRS. You take the IRS, say, listen, let's audit my tax return. We do that with our business plan. Why? Because there's so many people out there saying, hey, we're just like Amway, only better. We're this, we're that, we're whatever. Well, the proof's in the pudding. We don't show you numbers that you can't achieve. We show you what you are able to achieve, and literally thousands are achieving as a result of our business plan. So you tie in with Amway, we've got the Yeager team, and we get the Edge Business Development Training System. And you do 100 points. 100 points, about $300 at retail. So you save about 30%, $90 of that. Get a little bonus based on a little bonus scale here. Do a little bit, get a little bit. Do a lot, get a lot. And it kind of grows. So on 100 points, it's about $1,100 a year, $1,200 a year of savings to you and your home. Not shabby, 100 a month. We can all do something with an extra 100 a month. But let's take it to the next step. You've got a great business. How many of y'all know people? How many of you know a lot of people? Say, man, I would love to have more money. I would love to have more time and more money. I love to find a way to get out of the situation I find myself in. I love to have a way that I can create a walk-away income so that I can be one of the exclusive, elusive few that actually is able to retire and retire comfortably. So if you begin to talk to people, and here's the dynamic thing, every one of you that has a phone has a contact list there. If you've got a Facebook, you've got friends on that Facebook. If you got Pinterest or one of these other deals, you've got friends on there. LinkedIn, you know a lot of people. How many of them are looking to do more and have more? Now, I realize not all of them. Some people, my brother-in-law is a good example. Success could attack him. It would be an annoyance. We all know people like that. Hey, happy for them. Okay, Sarah, let them live their life the way they choose to do it. That's fine. But if you're going to build a dynamic team, if you're going to build a winning team, if you're going to build a Super Bowl team, you want to put players on board with you. They're going to make it happen. How many people do you know that are making things happen in life? The busier they are, the more interested they're going to be because they're always looking for a better way. Always looking for a better way, and you now have a better way to show them. So get them on board. Show them how this thing works. Some will say yes, some won't. That's just the way it works. But guess what? You will add some people. If you add 9 plus you, that's 10. Doing 100 points, that's 1,000 points, 3,000 business volume. By the time you pay out all the bonuses to the people that you register as independent business owners, you're going to keep a little over $360, $370 for the month. about $4,400 extra for the year. And if your household's like my household, you'll find something to do with that money. You know, we always had things to do with that money. And I'm trying to get to the next page. There we go. There's some things you can do with that money. And so, yeah, there's always extras, always things you can do. Let's take it to the next level. Let's help the people that you get involved in business to get the people that they know involved in business. I had somebody tell me one time, you're 3 people away from knowing the President of the United States. I thought, that's ridiculous. I'm nowhere near knowing the President of the United States. Then I start thinking about it. Well, I know so-and-so who knows the congressman, who knows the president. And then sooner or later, I knew the congressman, then I knew the senator, and then sooner or later, actually from building this business, we got to meet a couple of the presidents. But, you know, you start thinking about it. You know people, and they know people, and they know people, and the first thing you know a lot of people through this business system. 6 people that get in for each of the 9 you have. We'll help them. We'll help you. We'll help present it. We'll help show them how this thing can work for them and for you. And that business now is doing over 6,400 points, $2,800 a month net profit to you. Well, gross before expenses. What's your expenses? Well, we have a cell phone. We now write it off. We have a home. We have a home office deduction. We've got car. We can take mileage deduction. You know, you got to net out business expenses, right? But you start thinking about, you're making $2,800 a year, a month that's tax advantaged. You can start doing some phenomenal things with that. It'll increase the things on your list. For us, one of them was keeping Colleen at home. We couldn't afford a sitter for 5 children, I got to tell you. Now we have 6. Paying debt down. You double the payments. You know, if you double the payments on a 30-year mortgage, you'll pay it off in 6.5 years. Most people don't know that. Why? Because they don't have double the payment income. Why not pay it off in 6.5 years? If you can, take some nicer trips, maybe add some things, some extra around the house. Now let's take those 6 that get in under your 9, and they all do 100 points, and you now are running 22,600 points. And on a scale with the way the comp plan works, it's a little over $6,200 a month. And with some of the other bonuses that kick in, it's a little over $8,900 a month. You got a pretty fantastic business at this point. And in fact, when Colleen and I looked at this thing, we said, man, if we can make over $100,000 a year at this thing part-time, we're going to go full-time, part-time. And that's what we did. At 36 years old, we went full-time, part-time. Hey, why keep showing up, working your tail off to make less money than you're making part-time and enjoying life without the full-time stress? I don't know what you would do, but that's what we did. Everybody has to decide what they want to do, but we had things we wanted to accomplish, and this business enabled us to be able to do that. And the crazy thing is, we're one of thousands. I don't mean one of a few, one of a couple hundred, one of tens of thousands of people that have accomplished the same level that Colleen and I have accomplished in this business. It's very doable for you and for anybody that decides to. And I think that was the biggest thing. We decided to. I saw a lot of people that got involved in this thing never decided to. Hey, that's fine. We all have free will. We decided to because we wanted what it offered and we didn't want what we had. I don't know your situation. When you help someone develop a successful business at the 7,500 points or above, we call that a platinum-based business, you kick in for a leadership bonus. It's a bonus that's waiting for you. It's not taken away from anything else in the plan. It's an add on top of bonus. It's 4%. 4% of their volume. Now, on a business running 7,500 points, that's going to be about $1,000 a month of income to you. On a business running 10,000 points, that's going to be about $1,200 a month, and so on and so forth. But, you know, when I looked at that, I thought, wow, how much money do you have to have in the bank to make $1,000 a month? $12,000 a year. I don't know about your bank. Mine's not paying too good. Mine's paying less than 1%. Let's say they were paying 1%. That would mean I'd have to have $1.2 million in the bank to produce $1,000 a month. That doesn't sound like a good deal. But it was the only deal that I knew. So we had to make some decisions. All right, let's keep going because it's all we know until we saw this business start realizing, hey, this is a better way to get there. A whole lot better way to get there. When you help someone develop a successful business, you get a 4% leadership bonus that overrides, and that's a happy day. And you don't have to go out and try and produce $1.2 million, which would mean in the top tax bracket, you have to make $2.4 million to produce $1.2 million. And here's the fact of the matter. The average person in America will never accumulate more than $200,000. Most less than $20,000. That's not too exciting. In fact, it's kind of sobering. Until you start realizing tonight you are in control. And I think that was the biggest thing that turned me on. Being in control of my own destiny. Being in a position where we now could determine what was enough, and if we wanted more, we could put the effort and energy in to create more. Friends of ours, Reed and Cindy DeVries, are one of many, many Founders Emeralds. Colleen and I are Founders Emerald, but they built a huge business. I'm a youth pastor, and a gal I think was in medical sale or medical work. I'm not sure exactly what Cindy did, but they've got a very successful business, and middle age, they were able to quit doing the things they didn't want to do and go full-time, part-time. You help someone develop 6 businesses. That's what we call diamond in our business. The average diamond is making over $300,000 a year, actually over $350,000 a year. Bill, Jan Kerr, great couple, 5 kids. One of them with some serious issues health-wise. Had to put her in not in jail, but in the hospital, and moved an apartment across the street for quite a few years. Very expensive, very inconvenient. They saw this business, said, hey, this is a way we can get freedom. It's a way we can preserve our daughter's life even more. They were very motivated. But, they're not one of 1 or 2 diamonds. They're one of thousands at this point of diamonds in our business. And executive diamond, EDC, 9 legs. Tim Foley, we were with him not too very long ago. The Yeagers had him in to speak. And dynamic guy. He got a Super Bowl ring back in the 70s and went on to have an undefeated year, and just a great success story, but a very humble, down-to-earth guy who said, hey, I want something that will pay me long after my body no longer can. And he spent a lot of time in a hospital and different things from football-type injuries. And today, Tim has a business that's well in excess of 8 figures annual income. Does very, very well for himself. Why not you? Why not you? Because you see, there's dozens and dozens, actually hundreds like them. So you take some of the things you would do. I don't know what they are. We have tremendous training system. We've got tremendous training materials. We've got, a development system that is second to none, put together by the Yeager family. Dexter and Bertie Yeager started this business back in the 1960s, 1964 to be exact. And they wanted to make $1,000 a month, and they blew that in a month. They were making more than that. And they kept building their business, and they began to realize it's a people-building business, not a product-moving business. You build the people, the products will move, not the other way around. And Dexter put that into play, and he's built the largest single business of its kind anywhere in the world. And that, gang, is what we have as a mentorship program available to us. And if you're going to hook your wagon to somebody's wagon, make sure it's going someplace you want to end up. And that was the thing that got Colleen and I turned on about this business, is the fact that we could be in control and we could stay turned on with what we were creating. So you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. We were just on the Eagle Cruise. That was a picture taken on the annual February cruise we do a couple of years ago. That's some of the top leadership over the Yeager Lake House. That picture was taken a couple of years ago. We've got everything from a college professor to a guy in a pizza store to, all different kinds of 8th grade education to, PhDs and college professors and, all different kinds of backgrounds, dentists, a doctor. There's a picture of Colleen and I with Dexter and Bertie Yeager. Now, why is that picture important? Because Dexter and Bertie Yeager built the single largest interactive commerce business in the world. They're not just the biggest in the Amway business. They're the biggest in the industry, in the world. Pretty significant when you think that you have mentors who have done to the largest level accomplishable that's been done to date, willing to teach you how to get there. It's like the 3 guys in a boat, an attorney, a priest, and a rabbi. They're sitting there, turns lunch. Priest walks ashore, gets his lunch, comes back, sits in the boat, starts eating it. Attorney can't believe his eyes. Priest gets in the water, walks ashore, gets his lunch, comes back, starts eating it. The attorney's got a bit of an ego, so he figures he better walk ashore too and show these guys up. He's not so sure he can walk on water. He gets out of the boat, goes to the bottom. They pull him up, get him in the boat. He says, man, I got to get religion so I can walk on water like you guys. They said, no, you just got to ask us where the stones are, buddy. Well, that's what Dexter and Bernie Yeager have been doing for years, showing people where the stones are to get there quicker than they did. And they've become very, very good at it. There's Jeff Yeager, good friend of ours, Dex and Bernie's son, who's Jeff is a tremendously dynamic leader. And you have the opportunity to meet Jeff. That was on a cruise a couple of years ago. We're just on one here recently with him again. There's Colleen Nywood Doyle and Holly Yeager. And Amway flew their jet in to, that's one of their many jets. In fact, they've got the largest corporate fleet of aircraft and the best equipped in the world. Of any corporation in the world, you name any of them, Amway's got a better aircraft fleet than all of them. And that was one of them. That was, I think, a G5, which is a pretty impressive plane. But, being able to tie into key mentors and folks that will help you build your business. Steve and Cecile Yeager, I just think they epitomize the Amway business today. They're just living a life and enjoying it large, and just a dynamic couple, fun to be with. And, these are the kind of people that you have opportunity to not only be in business with, but to get shown how to succeed in business by. And that's some more of the Eagle Cruise folks. But, you want to read, listen, and sample. The products prove the plan. Try them. Use them. Prove it to you. They're the best of the best, but you don't know that until you have an experience, and we recommend you get one. Listen to the materials. Review some of the sites and links that you're going to get advised to go to here. But read, listen, and sample. Tonight, 5 years from tonight, you'll either say, I'm glad I did, or I wished I had. 5 years from tonight, if time and money are no longer an obstacle in your life, where will you be? So take the next steps. Very, very important. But make some lists. Very, very important. What would you do with more time and more money? The minute you write it down, you join an exclusive group of people who write things down and get them. Most people don't. When I say most, 95% don't write anything down that they plan to get. Consequently, it's happenstance when they get it. But the 3% that write it down and set up a specific goal and plan to accomplish it, they get over 50 to 100 times more than the 10% that had goals but didn't write them down. And I don't know how many times more than the 87% they're just wandering around there trying to figure out what's going to happen to them next. Guys, tonight we put the keys to freedom in your hands. And you are the only one that can use them. So I hope you do. It's been great sharing with you. It's been my pleasure. We've got another one coming on at 9 tonight. And we've got a training meeting coming on. You can hook in with the best of the best in this business, and we hope that you do. But guys, it all comes down to you. You are the key. Tomorrow's the first day of the rest of your life, and you control it. And I hope you take advantage of it and make it happen for yourself. Hey, it's been fun sharing. Eric Sowers checking out here in the Carolinas. Have a great night. Thank you.